Am I the a-hole for cutting my dad off after he told me to never ask him for anything again? This happened earlier today, and I honestly feel sick about it. It's been a rough few weeks after a major fallout with the rest of my family, but today was the final straw, and it came from my dad. He called me after attending a funeral for one of his close friends. I didn't go, I barely knew the man, but he said the service made him think of me, which I appreciated at first. But the conversation quickly shifted. He started asking what my plans are for life, and mentioned that his late friend's daughters were doing so much living with him, raising kids, being stable. I told him I'm building my own business. I didn't go into deep detail because, honestly, it's personal and fragile. But it's real, and it's my passion. It's one of the only things that makes me feel like I have a future, a purpose. I don't have a big support system. I don't have many friends. My boyfriend and my roommate are pretty much the only people I deal with regularly, and if they were gone tomorrow, I'd be completely alone except for my dogs. My business is the legacy I want to leave behind. It's the one thing in my life that I feel is truly mine. But when I said that to my dad, he just sighed, like it wasn't enough, like I wasn't enough. Then he told me I wasn't disposable, but that I was just a lot to handle. That one sentence broke me. Because all my life, I've been labeled as a lot by people who never took the time to actually listen to me. I've struggled with mental health issues since I was a child, chronic anxiety, depression, trauma. I grew up with a physically and mentally abusive mother who was also my best friend some days. She kept me close by keeping me dependent. She refused to let me grow, sabotaged my independence, and manipulated me constantly. I didn't go to college because she didn't want me to leave her. She died in 2019, and while I was grieving the loss of my mom, I was also grieving the abuse I endured and the fact that I was never really allowed to become my own person. When I try to explain how my anxiety can make even the simplest things hard, my family hears it as excuses. They give advice, and when I can't follow it, they treat me like I'm just being difficult. Then I end up apologizing again and again for being too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But no one ever apologizes to me. No one ever just listens. So I tried explaining that to my dad, how I feel like he only shows up when I'm in a crisis. When I just want to spend time with him, like go to a movie, sit at a park, anything simple, he never follows through. I've spent so many hours fully dressed, waiting like a kid for her dad to pick her up, just for him to not show up. But if I say I need help, groceries, a ride, an emergency, he answers. So eventually, that's all I called for. Not because I want to use him, but because that's what he's been reliable for. I told him I wanted more than that. I wanted him to be reliable in my life, not just in crisis. His response? Then don't ask me for anything again. That hurt more than I can even explain. I've been trying my hardest to figure out life on my own. My mom taught me just enough to keep me dependent, but never enough to actually thrive. I'm not making excuses. I'm genuinely trying to grow. I just wanted a dad who would be there. I wanted support that wasn't conditional or resentful. So I said, fine. Then let's just leave each other alone for good. And I hung up. Now I'm sitting here wondering if I went too far. Was I wrong for reacting like that? Was it too harsh? I feel like I've been trying to build boundaries that no one respects, and every time I get brave enough to say this hurts me, I get punished for it. Am I the a-hole for cutting my dad off after he told me to never ask him for anything again? Update: it's been about 2 weeks since I made that post, and while not much has changed in terms of my relationship with my dad, a lot has shifted inside of me emotionally. I ended up trying again. I reached out to him because I still felt like there was something worth salvaging. I told him that I wasn't just asking for help out of laziness or entitlement. I've genuinely needed support, not just when things fall apart, but in the day-to-day moments of life. I got a late start figuring everything out. My upbringing didn't prepare me for adulthood the way it should have, and I've been doing my best to heal and build a future while carrying a lot of emotional weight. And the truth is, I hoped my dad might care enough to walk through some of it with me. But instead of responding to that, he sent me a photo of the family smiling together with a message that said, "Me and these people love you." And while that might seem sweet on the surface, it just hit wrong. There was no acknowledgement of what I had said before. No response to the vulnerable things I had shared. Just silence, followed by a sentimental group picture like nothing had ever happened. I told him it felt manipulative. Not in a mean way, but in an honest one. Because it felt like he was skipping over everything that mattered. He replied by saying, "What was I supposed to respond to? You made statements." And that just felt cold. I wasn't looking for an argument. I was trying to open a real conversation. I wanted him to listen. I wanted to feel like my pain mattered. Eventually, he sent another message saying he loves me and wants the best for me, but also that I seem to remember what I want and that he started the conversation trying to talk about me. He asked what happens next. And honestly, I've been sitting with that question for days. What happens next is I stop holding on to an idea of him that doesn't match who he is. I stop expecting the kind of father he never planned to be. He's told me more than once that I have it messed up when it comes to what I think a dad should be. I don't agree with that, but I do believe I had the wrong idea for the kind of father he intended to be. And at this point, I have to respect that. So I told him that from here on out, I'll walk my journey alone. Not because I want to, but because I have to. I told him he can continue to live his life surrounded by the family he chooses to show up for, and I'll figure out how to do the same for myself. The hardest part is that I still want a relationship. I want a dad I can call to talk about my day. Someone who knows what I'm doing without needing a recap every time. Someone who wants to spend time with me just because. But every time I've tried to build that, I've been met with silence or defensiveness. And I'm tired of trying to force someone to see me. I've spent most of my life being told I'm too emotional, too sensitive, too much. But I was a kid who never got to grow up feeling safe or unconditionally loved. My mom's love came with strings and control. After she passed, I've been trying to figure out how to be my own person for the first time, and all I ever wanted was a dad who'd be proud to watch me grow. But instead, I'm grieving someone who was never really there in the way I needed. And maybe now I can finally start focusing on healing. Thanks to everyone who responded to my first post. You helped me feel seen in a moment I really needed it.